feel?
Oh, it feels good when you get tagged. It's about a defensive lineman.
Yeah. All right. So those of you who are watching on the internet now, with us live, welcome. Good morning. We know you probably haven't gotten here yet, but you'll see this later. And the other day, I was not watching our channel for comments, which was kind of weak, right?
Whoops.
Could have done better on that. All right, so we're going to talk about the stuff from practice, a clarification on Dillingham's role, just because the bunker asks about it a lot. And I don't know if you and I have different opinions on that, but we'll find out. We'll talk about Mark Anthony Richards being out and how that affects things, although the depth chart at tailback looks pretty damn full to me. Because you got Booby and Cam, Shivers, DJ Williams, and Big Daddy Malik Miller.
And Harold Joyner's getting a lot of carries.
Yeah, that's right. There was no room for him. We got to say rest in peace to Jamar Travis.
That's terrible, man.
Unfortunately,
Jeez.
yeah. I liked him, man. He was a nice kid. He wasn't a very good player, but
a very nice kid. Very nice young man. Always had a smile on his face.
Yeah, just good dude. He also, little piece of trivia, there's an iconic picture out there of Chiz, like talking on the phone during signing day. Like he's obviously very excited. He's elated. And then he was actually talking to Jamar Travis in that photo.
That's nice.
Yeah. Jamar's from
Bruton,
that's right.
Yep.
Yeah. They thought he was kind of a big get there late. I mean, Chiswick was really proud to have landed Jamar Travis. But I don't know if you remember, he played a little bit against Utah State in 2011, and he was getting displaced really badly. We were like, oh, shit. Like, I don't know if this dude's going to be able to actually play or not. I mean, as a junior, you should be able to repel Utah State a little bit, right?
Yeah, he never really took off on the field, but he was always a really good kid and really worked hard and
yeah,
one of those types.
Just good.
Just a guy you root for. You want to do well.
Tiger Man 81 in a thread made a reference to the concept of ultimate Jabba. He was saying basically that if Gus were to get run and they hired Kevin Steele, which is what I think would happen right now, if we're being honest, he was like, hiring Kevin Steele would be the ultimate Jabba. And I thought about, first of all, what do you think, B-Matt, not necessarily associated with hiring a coach, because I don't really want to go down that road, but what is, in your lifetime, the ultimate Jabba move? Like, what is something that Jabba'd that was like the ultimate Jabba? Was it hiring Chiswick? Was it hiring Gus? Was it changing the logo? Because that was a pretty Jabba move.
The giant buyout, that was definitely Jabba.
Oh, no. How about the Jabotron?
Yeah, beating the crap out of Georgia and Alabama in November, and then getting your butt beat, a week later in the SEC championship game because you don't have a backup running back. That was definitely Jabba.
There's got to be some stuff like 70s and 80s Jabba.
But like 1988, I think it was 88. Auburn goes to LSU, and LSU runs the same play twice in a row and beats them. In the final seconds. That's the earthquake game. That was Jabba. It's the same daggone play. So that would hurt. That one Auburn dominated for 55 minutes or whatever. They just couldn't do anything offensively.
Yeah, that was a little before my time.
That was a good Auburn team. That 88 team was really, really talented.
Yeah, well, it's weird to think there was a time in my life when I wasn't paying any attention at all. I mean, it wasn't Auburn. I just didn't. Like, I wasn't paying attention to SEC football. I was just like, whatever.
I mean poor Chumo Kiki. I mean, that team should have won the national championship last year. And the best player gets hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks.
Are you trying to say that's very Jabba?
That's just bad luck. I don't know. Jabba really cheapens that to me, so I don't want to use that term with that. But that's just bad luck, man. I mean, that's that team is going to win the national championship. They're on a roll. They're killing other teams. They still, of course, make it to the Final Four without them, but still,
Yeah.
they beat Virginia with Chumokiki.
Yeah, I don't go down that road because I don't know if Auburn plays as well as it does if Chuma's there. I don't know. I just feel like there was kind of an emotional crescendo with just the absurdity of it. Like, can you believe this shit? That we finally get here, and then Chuma's out for real. Are you serious? We could talk about that another time. Anyway, Ultimate Job, which cracked me up. You could talk about, first of all, the stuff that's happened like we did, and then stuff that could happen, like your theoretical Ultimate Jabba. You can come up with some real doozies. You know, whether it's like you win some national award for elephant ears or whatever. No, funnel cakes, and then you actually proclaim it like on social media. That would be a very Jabba move. We also need to
making
talk about
150 million in revenue, but having to cut costs because you're so inept. That's Jabba.
Oh, are you like an economist now? Look at you, Mr. BMAT, economy major. Hey, buddy.
I'm just saying.
We also need to mention Tank Bigsby because that was a pretty big commit, and it happened after our last show. So if you want to wax poetic about Mr. Bigsby, that would be sweet.
Okay. So, now or later?
During the show, man.
All right.
You guys were down there a long time with player interviews last night, dude.
Just sitting around waiting. I guess they were going through treatments. It just was not a good situation. It was not. I mean, first of all, the players we talked to weren't exactly, starter type. Some of them were starters. Obviously, Noah Igbinagani, who I wrote about, but
you got Sal and Noah and
Marquise McLean and
Nick Brahms.
Right. I mean, Nick Brahms is a terrific dude, a good interview, but he's a backup center.
Wait, your daughter's not at school yet?
That was Ashley. She's going to work, and she starts at Montevallo and another. Well, she leaves in 10 more days, which is really sad. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah. McCrady's taking a daughter to school this week.
Where's she going?
She's going to Arkansas.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Good for her.
Crazy, huh? They're growing up, man.
We're getting old.
Yeah, kind of. One day at a time. All right. You ready to kick this bad boy off?
I am ready.
All right. To our folks on the YouTube, thanks for being part of the show. The pre-show presented by Voodoo Wing Company, I reckon. I don't know.
Oh, and it's Yvonne's birthday today.
Oh.
So happy birthday. She's watching. And it's National Left-Handers Day. So Cassidy, my youngest, will be excited about that.
Wow, Yvonne.
Got a lot going on. Yep.
That's
she's
great.
29 again.
She's a young looking lady to have 3 kids and all that. Yeah. And you never guess she had 3 kids.
Yeah. I don't know how she's done it and she can still be 29.
Yeah.
It's almost like she had our oldest at 8, but I'm not going to do the math.
I have some questions, Brian. Yeah. That really says something about you.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I'm just glad Epstein committed suicide, thank God.
Died by suicide is the preferred nomenclature.
Under suicide watch. Explain that to me.
Well, I mean,
I guess they watched him commit suicide. I mean, I don't want to make fun of it, but
are you like a social expert now? I mean, what's the deal? Why are you getting all triggered over stuff like that now?
Oh, I'm not triggered at all. I'm just having some fun.
Okay.
On the internets.
I guess technically that's what we're doing. All right, let's kick the show off. You ready, Big Daddy?
Yes, I am ready. I presume I'm ready.
Yeah. Ready. Still got to fire up the old tape recorder here. It's crazy. Still doing it the old way, B-Matt. Hi-yo! Hello again, and welcome to the AuburnSports.com rundown presented by Voodoo Wing Company. This right here, this very show, is your favorite podcast for all things Auburn. Today is August 13th in the year of 2019. This is episode number 395 of this fine program. Creeping up on 400. And according to my calculations, and BMAT has had to correct me on this before, I believe we're 17 days away from Auburn's encounter with the hated Ducks of the University of Oregon. Brian, are you on board with that?
Sounds right to me.
All right, very good. And August 13th is a significant day in the Matthews household, Brian. What exactly is that?
Yvonne turns 29 again, my
Hey
wife.
now.
Happy birthday to you.
Okay, so Yvonne's 29, and your son Tyler's what, 20?
21, yes.
Okay. I'm a little concerned.
We started him young in Alabama, did you?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. I'm just going to put that out of my mind. Yvonne, you're the best. I mean, Courtney's awesome too, but you're really, really awesome. Also,
happy birthday to all the left-handers out there, did you?
It's
National
Left-Handers
Day.
National Left-Handers Day.
Yep.
And your youngest is a lefty.
Cassidy's
right?
a lefty, so yes.
How about that? Have you ever wondered the whys and hows behind that?
I have actually wondered. Yes, I don't understand that, but yes, I have wondered about it.
You have a lot of ideas about other things, but nothing on the left-hander thing, huh?
No, I'll try to come up with a hot take before the show's over.
No, that'd be great. My name is Jay Tate. I am publisher of AuburnSports.com, and I'm joined as always by Mr. Brian Matthews, capital B, capital M, our ace team reporter, and a man who basically everybody knows is a doer of many things. BMAT, word.
So we're about halfway done with camp now, is that right? Almost?
It appears to be that way, yes, sir.
Yeah, how about that? We are close to getting the quarterback situation resolved, I believe.
Oh, really?
End of this week.
Oh.
Be my prediction.
And your choice is?
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. I will say
I'm gonna have to flip flop again, JG. I hate being a flip flopper, but I'm gonna have to flip flop again.
You're going back
not
to
yet,
Joey?
Though. I'm not gonna flip flop this very day.
You're tempted to go back to Joey Gatewood.
No.
You're tempted to stick with Bo Nix.
No.
You like Court Sandberg.
I was Bo Nix. I went to Joey after spring, and I've stuck with Joey since.
Oh, okay.
So I was Bo back in the fall.
We will discuss this here in a minute. I do want to let everybody know that this show and all of our podcast stuff is presented by Voodoo Wing Company, which you can find them in Auburn, soon in Tuscaloosa. They're ready to go in Tuscaloosa now. I need to check with Michael to see if they're actually open, but they were preparing to open by the last time I spoke with him. There are rumors of other stores opening in other areas of Alabama, but I have not been empowered to discuss those just yet. They also, of course, have the 2 stores in Vegas. And the reason that they're expanding is because their food, the whole experience really at Voodoo is just, it's awesome. It's top notch. We had someone jump on the bunker the other day. I should have their handle written down, but I didn't do it. Who had made their maiden voyage to Voodoo, and guess what? It was everything they expected and more. How about that?
Not surprised, because the wings are delicious, crispy, delightfully delicious, as you like to say. The Voodoo sauce is unique and also delicious. And everything that goes with it, including the fries and the nana pudding, is also delicious.
Nice job, B-Matt.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like the key lime pie, which I don't think is on the menu, but you can ask for it, and they almost always have it. And you get your own little cup there of Jan's famous key lime pie. Little graham cracker crust at the bottom of that bad boy. It's tart, but it's not so tart that it's displeasing. Check them out, Voodoo Wing Company on College Street, 0.3 of a mile north of the interstate in Auburn. You can also check them out on the internet, the World Wide Web, at voodoowingco.com. BMAT, practice yesterday. We had a chance to watch. Let's see, we got to film 3 periods, I think, and then we got a bonus period. Does that sound about right?
That sounds about right. It was about 40 minutes, which is as long as, we've been out there for practice in a long time.
Yeah, that was a long time. And when they went into a pace period, this is pretty funny to me. So Malzahn looks over. I guess he just caught me first because I just happened to be in his line of sight. And he starts pointing to the ground. And I don't know what the hell that means. And then he yells for Kirk, and he starts doing this to Kirk. And obviously Kirk didn't know what the hell he was talking about either. He meant to say cameras down.
Right.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of other ways you could have communicated that without pointing to the ground. But
yeah.
Anyway, we did see a pace period, Brian. The first time we watched pace, we both thought that Bo Nix was way ahead of Joey passing the football. What did you think yesterday?
I thought the defense was pretty good during pace. I mean, I know Bo went 3 and out, right? Did Joey get a first down?
I don't think so, no.
I don't think so. I think both went 3 and out. So none of them really caught my eye. But I thought just watching the quarterbacks the entire practice, which I focused on them a lot, I thought Bo again was the crisper passer, especially on the short routes. It just looks more natural to me. But I thought, as you mentioned on the board, that Joey looked a little bit better than he did last week when we saw him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Joey was a mess the last time we saw him, and this time I thought he looked pretty good. I mean, it wasn't a good pace period for the offense in general, but I thought he was throwing the ball better. And then we had a chance to watch. Well, I was inside. Me and Jay Lee were inside watching that where they were throwing kind of target practice. I think you were outside still, and both guys were pretty accurate, throwing about 20 yards into a target.
Yeah, I saw the end of that. That was pretty good.
Yeah. But, I mean, throwing into a target is not how you win SEC football games. I'm just saying. I mean,
probably not.
Just saying. But anyway, Joey looked better. I mentioned this on the board. He has kind of a weird thing with his motion where he throws a little higher, maybe up above his shoulder than Bo does, and Joey's a tall kid. So all of his throws tend to have this downward projection, and, like, the nose of the football is always pointing down.
Especially the short throws. He just looks like he feels awkward doing them.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he's finally gotten into a rhythm on the screens where he kind of takes something off of him and lofts it a little bit, but everything else just seems a little forced. I don't know. And Bo definitely is a smoother passer. And then you got Cord Sandberg. Cord did not have a very good day yesterday. He was having a poor day when we were watching him. Is that fair to say?
Well, when you're team dad, JG, there's a lot of other responsibilities you have to take care of before practice. So, I mean, give the young man a break.
He had to bring oranges and whatever else, little crackers.
Yeah. Got to make sure everybody gets their pads on right. I mean, there's just a lot of responsibility.
I mean, I don't know as though I saw him throw a ball that was like a good spiral. It was just ducky.
Actually, his last throw was a spiral. I remember saying something to the person beside me.
Well, that's great. 1 out of 10. Not bad.
So. But, Cord is still adjusting, I guess, from baseball, and I think his future is probably in some sort of coaching or, whatever field he wants to go into.
Dr. Matthews over here. You got him set up, Big Daddy. Okay, so Cord probably not going to be starting.
Probably not, no. Good dude, though.
And we do think that Gus is going to make a decision before too long. I think he would like to go into this when he gets into earnest Oregon prep. I mean, really doing Oregon stuff. I think he wants to have his number one set,
which I think will be Tuesday, a week from today, I believe.
Yeah,
right. Monday is the start of school, right?
First day of class on Monday, so Tuesday would be. That would make the most sense from a team building perspective, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what I'm going to do. I mean, I just do it when it feels right. Thanks, Gus. DJ Williams was back out there. I had only seen him in an orange jersey until yesterday. Of course, number one in your hearts, obviously, but number 3 on the field. Your general thoughts, Brian, on just seeing DJ at 100% and what he looked like out there?
Couple of thoughts. Number one, he doesn't look like a freshman running back. He's built really well for a true freshman. Number 2, looked really smooth and comfortable catching passes out of the backfield. Number 3, I think he's going to be a player.
Player. Throw your hands in the air if you're a true player. One guy who is not going to be a player this year is Mark Anthony Richards, who has suffered an injury and will be out. Yeah, this year he's going to be out. And a lot of people were kind of belly aching about this on the board because they thought that we call him on the bunker M-A-R, that Mar might have been a factor this year, Brian. But you start looking at this depth chart at tailback. I mean, you got Booby, Cam, Shivers, DJ Williams, Malik Miller, and as you mentioned in the pre-show, Harold Joyner's getting some carries. That's a lot of dudes. You can only feed so many horses. You know what I mean?
Right. And I do think they're going to spread it around more at running back position. I think what's going to be interesting with Mark Anthony Richards is when he gets back, when Tank Bigsby comes in, where's he going to fit in there? And if he doesn't fit in the top 3 or 4, are they going to look at him as possibly a defensive back maybe?
Oh, wow.
Future? We'll see. We'll see. He may. The thing I liked about Mark Anthony when I've seen a little bit of him is he's around 200 pounds already. He's not like some small dude. So that one question I think people had, is he going to be big enough to be running back? I think absolutely this time next year he'll be big enough to be running back. It's just a matter of where he's going to fit in and what's best for him.
Yeah. I get a lot of questions about, because Gus tends to find his horse and ride that horse. 2017 taught us about that.
Yeah.
We found Carry On, and then Carry On got banged up, and the whole season went to shit. And I don't know if it's a function of that memory or whatever, but I agree with you that I think Gus seems more willing to go with more than just one guy. I mean, he's certainly got some guys here that can handle the job.
Yeah, and he has to for recruiting. I think it's hurt their running back recruiting. I think it tied one hand behind Tim Horton's back when he was out there recruiting. And I think that they're openly saying that they're going to do it a different way. And I think that's helped them recruit and helped Carnell recruit Tank Bigsby. So it's important that they follow that up by actually doing it.
Wait, you ruined the surprise, which was about Tank Bigsby committing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thanks, Brian.
Well, we can go in more depth on that.
No, that happened days ago. You're right. I'm just kidding. All right, let's go through. I want to talk about some of these tailbacks because I've been doing some radio shows. You actually sit in the studio for some of these shows because you're a big time high roller.
I'll be Tuesday on the drive 4 to 6 here in Auburn
with Bill Cameron, right?
Yes, I'll be there today.
Local radio legend Bill Cameron. Had a chance to talk with him and Mark Murphy, two old timers. Just kidding. Bill's not that old. Bill used to be like a standard DJ. He was saying.
Back in the day, yes.
Yes.
Spinning records. For real, spinning records, man. That's awesome.
I would pay money to hear that. Hey, guys, this is Bill Cameron, and we're spinning the top hits.
I would say that Bill has one of the best radio voices of any radio, TV guys I've been around in my career. Smooth.
Oh, yeah. And he's a fantasy baseball assassin, too.
Yes.
I've never been in a league with him, but my friend Lori Dan, who used to cover Auburn for the OA News, she's in a league with him, and I used to work with her on it, to try to help her, although she didn't need a lot of help. But it was just ridiculous when I would look at his roster and then everybody else's roster, and he always had it stacked. It was ridiculous. The guy's just too smart for his own good. Anyway, Brian's going to be actually on the air in the studio because you're a high roller. I'm only a phoner. That's as good as I've ever gotten, so that's the way it is. But they tend to ask me about tailbacks, and they're like, what's Gus going to do at tailback? And I think you've mentioned it. They're going to be collaborate a little bit more. I mean, Boobie's a number one. Cam Martin is, for me, he's kind of a 1A guy. Is that the way you see Cam?
Somewhat, although I mean, yeah, that's sort of how
it Yeah. Shivers, I don't really know how to quantify him.
I think he's a 10 to 12 touches guy, right? Running, receiving, maybe returning kicks. We'll see. But a guy you definitely want to give opportunities to because he has an explosive speed and playmaking ability.
Sure does. He has some elite acceleration. Maybe only a quarter step slower than Anthony Schwartz, which is really saying something. But, I mean, he's not – I don't think of him as a number one tailback. He's probably just too small. But who knows? DJ Williams to me looks like a full, just a dude you put back there and you ride him. You think he has that ability, B-Matt?
I think so. Maybe not necessarily as a true freshman, but yes. Future, yes.
Right,
but, I don't think Auburn is going to do that to any of their tailbacks this year.
Right.
We'll see.
So the most likely scenario is like Boobie, Cam Martin, and DJ sharing time as the tailback. Although I think DJ has more ability than Cam Martin. I'll be interested to see how this Cam Martin thing all goes down because I thought he was going to leave. I really did. I thought he was going to go somewhere else and be a number one, wherever that was going to be. And then he didn't do it, and I was surprised. Are you surprised he stuck it out? Not because I know he's a high character kid. He's probably too high character. You know what I mean?
I would have been surprised a couple of years ago, but as I've gotten to know Cam a little bit more, I just see that he loves it at Auburn and he's not leaving no matter the circumstance. So I just think that's him. And we say character, but you can have a really high character and want to go to another school as a senior and, be a starter somewhere. But I just don't think Cam, that's what motivates him.
Yeah. It's like he told Malzahn, I'm going to be here for you when he came over from the Baylor debacle.
Yep.
And he feels like he should do that. Brandon Jacobs, going back a number of years, was in that same boat where he had signed with Tuberville, and he was like so grateful to Tuberville for giving him an opportunity that he wouldn't leave. And it was like, when they tried to move him to linebacker and all that stuff. And I mean, heck, they had Carnell and Ronnie. I mean, to be fair, two Auburn Hall of Famers, two NFL tailbacks. It was hard to work him in, and he should have gone somewhere else. He eventually did, but it was just Brandon was like, I gotta stay here. I gotta do what I said I was gonna do, and it was a very noble position, but nonetheless. What do you think is going to happen with Malik Miller this year? He looks thicker. He was already a pretty thick dude. I don't mean fat. I just mean strong. You think he's just going to try to vie for carries?
I think he's somehow going to be in the rotation. I don't know exactly how he's going to line up and how they're going to give him the ball, but I think he's part of this offense. Carrying, catching. One thing I found interesting was, and I forget which player it was, I think it may have been an offensive lineman, was talking about Harold Joyner, and he said he's really physical when he runs the ball. And that was the knock on him coming out of high school, if you remember. And I think that viewpoint is totally flipped now. And I think some fans may need to still flip that, but I think when they see him play, in September, they'll probably, or I guess August, they'll probably start seeing what he can do.
He's a big human being, but you're right.
Yes.
I mean, the talk on him coming out of high school was a little soft. And
no hint of that so far from Auburn since he's been here at all. So
that's too many guys, Brian. They're not going to be able to get all these guys touches.
I know. It's that's why you're trying to sort of figure out, how they're going to actually do it, because that is a lot of guys.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. If Booby fumbles on the goal line twice, there'll be plenty of spots open.
Yeah, that's true.
Pretty clutch fumbles right there. Or anti-clutch, however you want to look at it. I was being sarcastic. Let's see. Moving on. Some other things we got to discuss. On the bunker, first of all, we had a question from YouTube, Brian.
Okay.
So any idea why Harold was with the first team yesterday and Seth was with the second team? Are they just mixing and matching for kicks?
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Media was in there,
I mean, I think people really get overly excited about how somebody lines up in a drill during one portion of practice.
To be fair, Brian, you're very good at this, but you lay it all out for him.
I do, and then I put the reminder in there, and then everybody ignores the reminder and just goes off why this, why that. Yeah.
It's like you walk into your house and your wife says, "I bought you all of this delicious cold beer, but please don't drink it." Come on, man.
But no, I do think they're mixing and matching. Yeah, just giving different looks to different players, seeing how this quarterback works with this receiver, seeing how this receiver can work against this DB. I just think they're looking at different things.
I mean, you got to give Uncle Sal some opportunities.
But Seth Williams, as long as he's healthy, as long as he's close to healthy, he will be out there in the starting lineup. And I don't expect Harold Joyner to be the starting tailback either. So.
Yeah. Also mentioned Seth Williams. There was a rumor going around the bunker that he had been injured in the scrimmage, which I thought would be very difficult to do considering he didn't really scrimmage. And we saw in practice yesterday he wasn't injured. I mean, he
looks good to me.
Not a brace, nothing at all. He's fine. Number 18. Number 1 in your hearts, obviously. On the bunker, let's see if we got anything else. Alan from YouTube says the 03 backfield was the most talented of all time. I think you could make that case. Of Carnell, Ronnie, Brandon Jacobs. Trying to think if seemed like there was another one who was good.
Yeah, the surfer.
Trey?
Trey, yeah.
The surfer. Trey.
Iron Bowl hero, Trey.
And Carl Stewart. Cartoon Carl Stewart would have been there for sure.
Yeah.
And he was a good player in his own right.
He was.
I mean, he could have gone a lot of places and been a number 1. I promise you. Kind of reminds me of J.J. Wilson. I think about it. He was kind of like cartoon Carl Stewart. Yes. Trey Smith. From Venice, Florida, I believe.
Yep.
Thought he was a snowboarder. Anyway.
Yeah, I think you're right. Snowboarder. Yeah. Well, yes. Which kind of runs contrary to being from Venice, Florida, but it worked for him and it worked for Auburn.
He was actually from West Virginia, as I remember correctly. He was just moving there, and he lived in Montgomery for a minute now. I don't know if he's still here, but he was definitely here for a while. He was a really cool dude. I think about that when people ask me who are your favorite Auburn athletes. I don't think of Trey as often as I should, because Trey was exceptionally cool.
Now, do you remember which Iron Bowl that was? Was it 2003?
No, I'm thinking that was 2.
No, that was 2002. It was 2002.
Yeah, because
Wait,
Carnell would have been out that year.
no, 2002 was
Was that when Ronnie was out?
maybe it was
Remember, Carnell
2001.
was out a bunch early in his career. I know that.
Yeah,
Well, we don't mean to turn this into a let's shit on Carnell
no.
thing. Coach Carnell.
But yeah, that was cold. It was kind of an icy one, and he just had a terrific game. Those guys out.
William on YouTube also mentions that Trey was the winner of the ESPN's lauded Pontiac game-changing performance for a punt block for return against Florida. Yes, we remember he somersaulted into the end zone on that one, I believe.
Yep.
It's a total baller move because he's a baller. Something I wanted to mention. So on the bunker, there has been a lot of fussing. I could just end the sentence there and it would be correct. But there has been a lot of fussing about Kenny Dillingham's role in the offense on a game day. So, B-Matt, we know that Dillingham's going to be upstairs.
Yes.
We know that. What do you think that he is actually going to contribute during the course of a game?
All right. I think of several things. I think number one, he'll be on the horn to the quarterbacks whenever they come off the field, talking to them. I think he will be used as one of the spotters, one of the main guys that talks about how the defense is lining up. And I think he'll be a guy that does suggestions to Gus. I think he'll talk directly to Gus and give him ideas, suggestions, what he thinks would work, what he should go with. So I think he'll play several roles on game day.
But one of those roles will not be calling plays.
Probably not directly, no.
No.
Definitely not directly.
Do you think he'll be coordinating substitutions?
Suggesting. No, coordinating, no. I think that's still Gus. I think Howie Gus was doing it, since forever. So I don't think that's going to change.
So he's going to be a spotter? And maybe he's the voice of conscience? Like,
could be.
Gus, maybe we don't need to run inside 17 times in a row? He could be that guy.
Could be. And if things are going right, they're not substituting near as much as they were, right?
Well, that is Gus's pledge to me.
Right.
That was his pledge to me because I've ridden his ass about that. We all have because it was silly. 2 or 3 years ago, they substituted all the time.
Yeah.
And they took away the inherent advantage of hurry up, no huddle.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as you start subbing, then the defense can start subbing, and it's chaos. I don't think they're going to do it as much this year, but we'll see. He's promised us stuff many, many times before, and it hasn't actually occurred. I don't think he does it to be mean. He just does it because he's Gus, and he's just guessing.
Well, I think there's one limiting factor, and that's tight end H-back. He's got to have one that he trusts to be on the field and not have to substitute to do different things. So that's one of the keys for it.
Well, he does. I mean, I think Schenker, dude, he's huge. When you watch Schenker out in practice versus the other tight ends that Auburn has, or the other big guys, with the exception of J.J. Wilson, he's on a different level. Like, he is a huge dude. He moves well in the open field. He catches passes. I think he's going to be a big part of this offense this year. He and J.J.
J.J. looks good to me. Moves
sure
really,
does.
really well.
He's good,
Moves
man.
Terrific.
I mean, when you hear about this dude from Arizona State coming in, you're just like, whatever. But he might be able to really fill a hole there. I want to give a shout out, of course, to our friends here on the YouTube. Alan is chatting it up. Phil AU fan says, morning, fellas, WDE. How you doing, Phil? And William Thrasher. Pistachio has also been here as well. So appreciate you guys being here with us on the live YouTube show. We now have clarification on Dillingham's role, and everybody's happy. I do want to mention, and I hate having to do this, it's just weird, but rest in peace to Jamar Travis, who played defensive line for Auburn from 2009 to 12, a young man from Bruton, Alabama. Scott Fountain's former home, former coach Scott Fountain. Jamar passed away recently. I mean, he couldn't have been 30 years old. And I saw that Gus had tweeted out something about it the other day. And Jamar, we were talking about this before the show started, to be mad that, my lingering memory of Jamar is he's just a really nice person. He always was.
Always a smile on his face. Was part of a national championship at Auburn. Just a wonderful human being, and just left this earth way too soon.
Yeah, way too soon. Little undersized probably to be a defensive tackle. I don't think he didn't have the explosion to be an end, so he played tackle and tended to get displaced against the bigger and better teams. But here's the thing about Jamar. So he was a big recruit there when Chiswick just got started. And there's a picture that I've seen a lot of times through the years of Chiswick on the horn on his cell phone, like celebrating on a signing day picture. He was actually talking to Jamar, if you ever look up that picture and you Google it. So, I mean, they were really stoked to get this kid. And he promised Chiswick, I'm going to work as hard as you can possibly imagine if I get up there. And although he did not play a lot and, was kind of a role player throughout his career, he never stopped busting his ass. You know what I mean? He wasn't a guy who was loafing. He wasn't a guy who was accepting his fate. He was fighting. And I give him a lot of credit for that. Because a lot of times people, they realize that they're never going to make it, and I think they kind of throttle down and kind of aim themselves in a different direction. And he didn't do that. And I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. So rest in peace to Jamar Travis. Also, Pistachio on the YouTube chat mentions that Cassinius Moore wasn't a bad tailback either if he had stayed.
Yeah.
Cassinius had a big fumble at Arkansas. I remember that. And I also remember Phil Snow from WSFA used to refer to him as Canisiusness.
Cassinius was good when he got rolling, When he could get that, I don't know, he's around 225 or so. When he got that moving, he was a good tailback.
He had long legs.
Wasn't a real shifty guy, but
No.
he was a cut and go type.
Yeah, he was a one cut. Cassinius Moore, man, I hadn't thought about him in a minute. Renard Williams on the chat says guys like Jamar make championship teams. I agree completely. Because Jamar's a guy who goes to practice and busts his ass every day, and if you take a snap off, he's going to make you look bad because he's gonna work. All right. Also want to mention, of course, Brian already let the cat out of the bag, but Auburn got a big commitment the other day from a should be and will be 5-star tailback Tank Bigsby from this side of Georgia. A big development.
Callaway High School. Yep.
Callaway High School, just north of LaGrange. This is a big deal. Explain to us why it's a big deal, B-Matt.
It's a big deal for several reasons. Number one, he's a really talented running back, definitely the best running back Auburn's signed since Kerryon Johnson. He's a guy that comes in and plays as a true freshman, could be an impact player right away. Number two, it's a big recruiting win for Carnell Williams and Auburn in general. To get a guy, the number one running back in the country, that's got so many other offers, is so wanted by so many other top schools, top rivals of Auburn. I think that's big, and then. I just think it's big if you look at the running back group. I think it's finally getting back to where it should be at Auburn. Going back 2 years ago when they didn't have that, clear and cut back up to carry on, and it hurt them in the championship game. Well, now you look at this year's group and you look at the potential for next year's group. That's not going to happen again, at least not in the near future, because they are stacked at running back, especially when you add Tank to the group that's coming back.
And you mentioned the possibility, at least some portability for Mark Anthony Richards.
Yeah.
And that he could go to the defensive backfield if needed. Interesting idea. Thanks for the scoop there, B-Matt. Tank committed last Friday, so it's been a minute, but still. Daniel P. on the YouTube says he's a Callaway grad. Love that we're keeping a pipeline going to AU. So.
Yep. Got Keandre Jones from Callaway in last year's class. He's had a really good camp. He's a little banged up now, so a little slow, but he looks like a future starter at guard. And then, of course, one of the commitments, the offensive lineman, Tate Johnson. Tate Johnson also from Callaway. A guy I think will probably maybe end up playing center at Auburn. Maybe take a couple years, but really like his attitude, his work ethic. I think he can be a good player.
Good stuff, B-Matt. Let's move on to shout-outs because we've been on the air a long time. Almost to 30 minutes already, B-Matt. Can you believe that?
No, I can't actually.
Let's get them.
All right. A few days ago, there's a thread started by Cooked W, posted about the fight at Tumors Corner. Put up a little video of the girls having a little melee there at Tumors. It was exciting. If anybody has not seen it, probably just Google Tumors Corner fight and it'll pop up. In that thread, Van Gorstash says, "This is what happens when you remove the little triangles from the logo. Reap what you sow, Auburn." So that was a good one.
Java.
Ob Tiger 48 says, What the hell is in the lemonade, man? That was perfect. That was beautiful. That was good bunkering right there. I'll tag 48. So thank you very much. Beautiful. That's it.
All right, so the video, I saw the thread, but I didn't watch the video. Were the girls actually fighting, or were they just messing around?
They were throwing haymakers. They were kicking. I did see at least one incident of hair pulling. So yes, they were going at it. And I saw a girl punch a guy. So it was, good times.
When I was a freshman at Transylvania University, I saw a girl fight. It was the first girl fight I'd ever actually seen. And I found it. I really liked it.
It got you excited?
Yeah, it did. And I mean, a couple people were like, should we stop this? And I was like, I don't really want to stop it. I kind of like it.
Did you need to go into a room by yourself afterwards?
No. I mean, you just kind of say that one for later. I got a few shout outs myself. Dolph Steele, who's one of our newer posters, starts a thread. Muschamp wired at practice on SEC Network.
Oh, boy.
A kid told him he had a problem with his hamstring, and the Wolf told him that he wasn't even fast enough to pull his hamstring. Ha, ha, ha. Love that dude. That is is that not perfect, Will Muschamp? It is, of course.
It is, actually. Yeah.
Overman 185 says, so what? He's a loser. Womp, womp, womp. Dolph Steele comes back and says, how is he a loser? I doubt your bank account or your wife looks anything like his. Oh, man, that's a fatality right there, buddy. Overman 185 comes back with this big retort. Still a loser. Bum, bum, bum. Good ownage there, Dolph Steele. That guy had no chance. You just walk away after that one. You just say, that's a loss, and we'll fight another day. AUGNC Engineer, bringing up a fight that Brian and I have had the whole time I've known him. Creator of .gif says it's pronounced GIF. At Stanley McRustler, there's about to be some Russell Jimmies. Here we go again. Like we haven't fought this fight already. Cowardly Toaster says, he says that, but the G in GIF stands for graphic, so he's wrong.
The guy who bid it is wrong.
WOSDWDE says, I bought you a present. Would you like it gift wrapped? Octen says, just smells on, has a ring to it. Those threads to me never get old. But we have been fighting this battle for like however long, 25 years now. Limer DB, another, he's not a voluminous poster at all. He started a thread attempting, oh my goodness, I think we lost B-Man. He started a thread attempting to project the Tiger signing class, and he left some blanks in there. Like it was like, okay, so they've got Tank. Maybe they get another tailback, and he left a blank on there. It's pretty funny. Huntsville Tiger 34 says, there's too many blanks on here for somebody with no avatar. Limer DB comes back and says, I'm just a weekend enthusiast here. I saw Tank's commitment today and was curious to hear from those who follow it more closely than I. That's a fair assessment. AUHDL comes back and says, this is how I'm going to describe my bunkering from now on. I'm a weekend enthusiast. AUHDL has no ability to call himself a weekend enthusiast. He bunkers a lot. But I love the concept of a weekend enthusiast. And I don't want people pooping on this guy. I thought it was a fair thread with fair questions. Stretched Armstrong finishes it out by saying, didn't know we were playing effing Mad Libs. Bum, bum. I also want to give a shout out. I don't have a thread to actually discuss verbatim here, but AU Civil started a thread about how he had started keto in January, a very strict diet, and he just got his blood test back from the doctor, and on that report it said diabetes gone. That's a hell of a job, man. So he was basically pre-diabetes. He went on a serious diet, busted his ass to get all the way through it, lost weight, got his body back together the way it should be, and now the diabetes is gone. That's a big win, huge win. Takes a lot of effort and discipline to make that work. So big ups to UAU Civil. I'm gonna have to close the show here without Brian because I lost him. His internet kind of comes and goes a little bit, and when it goes, man, it is gone. So sad times. I do want to give a shout out to our friends and supporters at Voodoo Wing Company. we appreciate very much the support they give us here with our show. They've been behind us for their 4th year now, and we love them. If you haven't been out there, check them out. That food is delicious. That place is clean, and I'm telling you, that counter staff knows what they're doing. They are trained like you wouldn't believe. The truth is that they're trained by a former naval firefighter, because that's what Jan was back in the day, and she demands perfection, and she gets it. Believe me. Also, a shout-out to our friends at Lynch Toyota of Auburn. Paul Brockwell, as I've mentioned on this show many times, is the best general manager in the business. He's got a great staff there, a lot of guys who have been there a long time. They don't leave because that place is doing great work, and they do great work, and they have a very high level that they have to attain, and those guys do it because they try really hard. Kenny's my guy on the floor, Auburn guy, loves his Tigers. If you see him, let him know I said what's up. They also have a great warranty program there at Lynch Toyota of Auburn. You need to go there and ask them about it, but essentially it's good news if you're going to be buying a car over there. Also, a shout-out to all of our awesome subscribers. Without you guys, we could not do what we do here at auburnsports.com. We wouldn't have this show. We wouldn't be able to buy the technology to do the show. We wouldn't be able to pay our mortgages writing about the Tigers, and we very much appreciate you guys giving us an opportunity to do this and an opportunity to inform you guys about what's going on at Auburn. If you're not a subscriber, listen, now's the time. If you buy a new annual subscription, you get a 25% discount plus a $75 voucher for Adidas gear. You can find the details for that deal on the front of our website right now. So this is a great time to do it. Jump in there. Remember, the keyword is Adidas. So when you get on the login page to kind of get stuff going, you've got to put in the promo code, and that is Adidas. Some folks have not added that, and it's kind of a pain for you to get that straightened out if you don't type in Adidas. Just saying that. All right. I also want to give a special shout out to our friends who have been watching on the YouTube. Bernard Williams, Pistachio, William Thrasher, Alan, Phil AU fan, Daniel, Joey. Appreciate you guys being here and asking questions. We do our best to get to you guys, but sometimes because I'm cross-eyed, I don't see it right. So blame me. And a shout out, of course, to Brian, whose internet went dead, but we're still going to finish the show without him. Until we see you guys again a little bit later in the week, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. Oh, yeah. Look at that, man. I even did the BMAT impersonation. I hope he's not mad. If he's mad, he can ask about his internet. Maybe he can call Spectrum and let them know how he feels about it. Well, that's the show. We went longer than expected. I think we were at like 35, 36 minutes, which is too long, considering there wasn't anything big. And we never even talked about Andy. My goodness. Dadgummit. I got so caught up in the tailback thing, we didn't even mention Andy. Andy Burcham, the new voice of the Auburn Tigers. A good dude and a very good broadcaster. It's kind of dismayed that some folks on the bunker were bitching about him. And I think it was just kind of like people bunkering. I don't think they really had a problem with him, but who's flashy in the broadcaster world? What did you want? Beth Mowens? Kirk Herbstreit? Who do you want? Andy's been here since 88. He's been doing football since 90. He called baseball alongside Rod for 25 years. He's the guy. He's the guy, and he's going to be the guy. And I'm really stoked for Andy. Put in his time, bided his time, got better. Also does a hell of a job on the interviews post-game from the locker room. He was actually part of the best interview I ever heard on the radio, which was, probably 07-ish. He was interviewing Pat Sims, who's one of my all-time favorites. Pat was a very straightforward speaker. He just you ask him a question, he gives you an answer, and that's it. There's no jabber. And at this time, he had hurt his hand. He was wearing a club. And so Andy asked him a bunch of questions, and he gave 5-word answers, which is what Pat does. And then Andy goes, "So how's the hand?" And Pat goes, "Still broke." And Andy goes, "All right, guys, that's the scene from the locker room. Back to you." You just end it right there. When he still broke. Both true and not great for radio. So anyway, golly, how am I going to fix this? We'll just go a little bit longer on Andy next time. He deserves some love for that. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up the stream. Appreciate you guys being here, and be good out there. See you.